Ready?
What's up, YouTube? It's Team Hollow Hunters here with another deck profile for you with...
Fluffals today. So, if you've never played this deck before, it's actually really fun and can actually throw a lot of people through a loop. So let's just get started on this. So for monsters, we're playing 3 Fluffal Dog, and he's pretty much your Stratos of the deck. If he's normal or special summoned, he can search any Fluffal monster or an Edgem Sabers. And what's sad about him is that you can actually only use his effect once per turn. But being obviously his Fluffal means that he's fusion material for everything, pretty much. So Stratos and fusion material is amazing. Next we have 3 Fluffal Sheep, because this card is absolutely broken. Pretty much, you can, if you control another Fluffal monster, you can special it, and then bounce a Fluffal monster back. So like that, you can bounce one back and special summon an Edgem monster, which I'll get into later. After you bounce that back, you special summon an Edgem monster, so then you're getting more material, and you can recycle such as your dog, so you can play him for next turn to search more, which is a good combo that I've used with multiple sheep before. Next, we have 3 Fluffal Wings, because this card is like MVP of this deck. I'm not even kidding. It pretty much gives you the ability to draw 2 and get a search off because of Toy Vendor. So, pretty much, if it's discarded by Toy Vendor, you can destroy a Toy Vendor, draw a card, and get Toy Vendor's effect off. So in essence, you're getting just pluses for days with that card. And the next card a lot of people find is really underrated, but I actually find it pretty fun, is Fluffal Mouse. A lot of people think this card is really underrated, but I've loved this card ever since it came out. You play 1, you tribute it, and you just get the other 2 from the deck. So not only are you deck spinning and plussing, but you're getting more material on the field. And a lot of people don't realize that with this card. This deck goes for such fast fusion plays that just having material can scare your opponent into doing something.
And it's cute as fuck.
Right, and they're all monster cute as fuck. So that's for the 3 ofs. For the 2 ofs, we start with 2 Fluffal Owls. I chose not to play 3 because I feel like 3 is way too cloggy. I even feel like 2 is a little much, but hey, it's a fusion material. And the fact that if he doesn't search for a poly, he himself can pay 500 and poly with cards on the field. So he himself is a poly in a sense. So he's pretty good just in that essence. Next, we have 2 Fluffal Bear. I chose not to play 3 just because I feel like, once again, 3 is too cloggy. And although I do like the fusion between him, I feel like it's too conditional, and I never really get it out. So I feel like 2 is a good number, because you can use its effect while it's on field, which isn't really as relevant, or you can just discard it to get Toy Vendor, which is normally what you do. Alright, so that's it for the Fluffal monsters. Now we're going to get onto the Edgem monsters, which is 3 Edgem Chain. This card is absolutely amazing for pluses. So pretty much, if it attacks, you can get another Edgem Chain from your deck, and if it's sent from the hand to the graveyard, you can just get any Edgem card or any Fluffal like fusion card from your deck to your hand. So it's pretty good in the sense of just searching. And then the MVP of all the Edgems, now we're going to the 2s, is 2 Edgem Sabers. Even though you only have 2, you only need 2. You could literally only play 1, and this card would still be good, because it literally can revive itself in the graveyard. All you have to do is place a card from your hand back on the top of your deck and special summon it. And unlike what's the card? Unlike Plague Spreader, who gets removed, he doesn't, so his effect can be used multiple times, and it's pretty effective with Toy Vendor because you know what you're going to draw then. Next, we have 2 Edgem Tomahawks. A lot of people only play this at 1 or even 0, but I feel like 2 is a good number because this card not only can start off by burning your opponent for 800. So in the time games, this card can be a cowboy if your opponent wants to stall. Also, it sends cards like Edge of Sabers to your graveyard for future plays or plays that you need to get off during that turn if you have the setup for it. And then it also changes its name. So it gives around the playability of playing any Edge monster and playing more of them. And then the one of for Edgems is Edgem Saw. I don't feel like playing any more of these is really necessary. Pretty much when he's summoned, you can dish a Fluffal monster from your hand, draw 2 cards. So he's a free just draw 2, and that's not bad. But I feel like there's no real need to play more of him because when you play the fusion for him, you've normally got game, so there's no real need to play more of him. And then we've got 2 Summoner Monks. Because of all the spells you play in the deck, he's amazing because you pretty much are only playing level 4s. There's a couple level 3s, but that doesn't really matter. And then 1 Tour Guide from the Underworld because of Edgem Sabers, and even Edgem Saw kind of works out. So 1 Tour Guide. And now we're on to the spells. I know it's a lot of monsters. The deck kind of goes with that. But now we're on to the spells. We have 3 Toy Vendor, literally a key component of the deck. Pretty much you have to play 3 of this card. I feel like if you play 2 or even 1 of this, I'm just going to say retarded. Like, it's really stupid. This card is amazing. You can just freely discard a card and draw a card. And if it's not a Fluffal monster, it goes to the graveyard. But with how much you can abuse that with Edgem Sabers, this card can, like, plus so much. You can Edgem Sabers into a dog and get a free search and get a special summon. How is that not good? And so when this card is sent to the graveyard in any way, also, you get to search for any Fluffal monster or Edgem Saber. So once again, how is that not good? It's just a free search. Like, they included that search power in there, and that just made this card instantly good. And then 2 Poly. I only play 2 because I feel like 3 is too cloggy, and there's no real need to play 2 any more than 2. The fact is with this deck is not only do you synchro fast, but the deck is either win fast or lose. Playing grind games is really hard for you. And although you can recycle polys and other stuff like that with some of your cards that you have, there's no real need to play more than 2. And that's because you have your 2 Miracle Fusions, pretty much. Fluffal Miracle Fusion, or Fluffal, or Fright for Fusion. Which is, in essence, it's Miracle Fusion for Fluffals. That's pretty self-explanatory. 2 Fusion Contraception, because once again, more search power. This deck searches so much, it's crazy. I've had so many people get mad at me for how far I can search into the deck in 1 turn. 2 Dark Hole, just because the Riddick is in my other deck, and Dark Hole is fine because clearing the board, I normally don't have cards on the field. If I have cards on the field, it's normally to go for an OTK. So clearing your board and of monsters and then attacking is GG. That's all that matters. And then 1 Fright for Factory, which pretty much restores your Fright for Fusions in a way. So the card in itself is good at 1. 2 is too much because its effect doesn't go off as much, and you really don't need any more of it. And then the only trap I play is Magical Hats, because this with Toy Vendor is absolutely amazing because Toy Vendor gets sent to the graveyard because of this. And you save your monster if your opponent doesn't attack into it. And even if they do, you're still going to get your search off. So either way, you're still plussing. And you can set other cards like that. So that's the main deck.
Let's go to the extra deck.
Okay, so the extra deck is a pretty funny one. So I just picked these up last Saturday. We got 3 Fright for Tigers. And Fright for Tiger is, like, once again, like I said before, all-star player of the extra deck. He's only 1900, and you would think with his low stats that would make him really feeble and really susceptible compared to the other 24 and making him 28 and other fusions like that. But he's actually got a really cool effect. For as many fusion materials as he was used for, he could pop cards on the field. Not only that, but for as many Fluffal or Fright for monsters, I think it's just Fright for monsters on the field. Yeah, so Fluffal and Fright for monsters on the field. he gains, or all of them gain, 300 attack. So, I mean, you can make him, in a good spamming hand, you can make him crazy amounts of attack. And other cards, too. And if you make more than one per turn, I mean, you can only control one Fright for Tiger, but even if your opponent kills one, these things are generic fusions for them. All you need is Edgem Sabers. So they're generic fusions, pretty much. Next, we have 2 Leo. This is where Saw comes in. Like I said, this card is legitimately, there's only need for really to play 1. You can also recycle Saw, so there's no real need to play anymore. For a minute there, I thought about bumping this up to 3, but then I have to bump up Saw to 2, and I don't really feel like there's a need to. 2 is a really good middle ground. 1 is too less. 2 is good. I normally never have to go into 2, so 2 is okay. Pretty much, he can pop a monster field and deal your opponent damage equal to that monster attack. So if you pop a really strong monster and then like go into Tiger to finish off your opponent, you can just win the game like that. And next we have 2 Fright for Sheep. This card's really good for defense because your opponent has to kill it twice. Not only does your opponent have to kill it twice, but the next time it comes back, it's going to be 2,800 attack. And that's pretty scary because your opponent has to kill this card twice in the same turn. And 2,800 is hard to get over. So in the battle phase, if your opponent does not have like a Blue Eyes or something stronger on the field, you are normally going to be safe for that battle phase. You may take some damage, unless you put him like in defense and then bring him back in attack position. You may take some small damage, but that's not really going to matter. And when he attacks, your opponent, he's pretty much an Ancient Gear Golem. Your opponent can't activate spells or traps in response to his attack. So if you bump him up to 2,800 and then attack with him, if your opponent can't do anything, he can be a real game changer. And then next is OTK Central, Fright for Wolf. For as many materials as he is used for, all he needs is Edgem Sabers and any other, or as 1 or more Fright for monsters. He can attack up to the number of times of Fright for monsters. The only downside of his effect is that if he gets effect bailered, he doesn't get all those attacks. He'll only get the 1 during your next turn. So that's kind of sad in that aspect because he has to keep his effect. But normally, he wins the game. I mean, he's only 2k attack, but if you can clear the board with Tiger and even pump him up, I mean, he can win the game. I mean, I've had him attack 10 times before, which isn't needed, but it's there. And 1 Fright for Bear, and this is where I was saying with Fluffal Bear, is because this card is really good, but it's not needed. Pretty much, you can attack an opponent's monster, equip that monster, and take half of its attack and add it to himself. And if that, or add 1,000 to him. And if that monster be destroyed, you can destroy the equipped card instead. So he's pretty good, but I've only managed to get him out like once or twice. So he's not really necessary. I only play him for that off chance that I may need him. Then for 1-0s for Exceeds, we have 1 Dark Rebellion, self-explanatory, 1 Castiel, self-explanatory, 101, a Cowboy, and Abyss Dweller. All pretty much self-explanatory, generic rank 4 Exceeds. I'm not running any rank 3s even though I play rank 3 monsters because most of my rank 3s are fusion material. You could argue that everything in my deck is fusion material, but I play more rank 4s and Dweller is so good in this format. You have to play Dweller. Cowboy is really good once again for those burning games or those last minute, like you hit him a lot with Wolf, but it didn't do enough, or he negated your last attack or something like that, and your opponent has like 800 or less. Cowboy for game. 101 steals big monsters, get over them, helps you confusion then, and Castiel spins back things that 101 can't deal with, or if you've already used your 101, Castiel is there to do it. Dark Rebellion, I've won actual games off him because you can take so much attack off him that and the attack doesn't go away. So your opponent you can literally suck up the attack of like a big monster like Blue Eyes or something. That's an extra 1,500 attack to him. Now he's 4k, and that's a big monster to get over. And although your opponent can just destroy him, he's still a really big monster to get over, and still takes a lot of resources. So that's deck profile for you guys. There's no extra deck because I literally just finished building this like 10 minutes ago. So we're going to be doing some testing Obviously, there's some stuff that's probably going to get taken out, and some stuff that's probably going to get left in. But I like where the deck's sitting right now. It just got remade. It was made for a while, but a lot of stuff is behind. I know I don't have a Fight for March, and a lot of people are going to yell at me for that. But it's mostly just because I didn't have it for the deck profile. I would probably play one if I had it, but I don't right now, or it's sitting at home. I'm not at home right now. So that's the deck profile for you guys right now. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good jazz stuff. And keep on hunting. Team Hall of Hunters signing out.